In the sunlit kitchen, Mary was brewing coffee alone. The aroma of drip coffee slowly filled the spacious room. It had been 2 years since her husband James passed away in an accident, and the house always felt a little lonely. "Looks like another beautiful day," she mused. Gazing out the window, Mary's eyes unconsciously drifted to the family photos on the wall. There, like frames of a film strip, were snapshots documenting her grandson Peter's growth. A photo of him as a newborn. His first birthday when he was just learning to walk. His beaming face on the day he spoke his first words. The proud moment he entered preschool. Mary's eyes lingered on the most recent photo. The timeline stopped there, 6 months ago. How strange, she murmured, picking up her coffee cup. Peter's radiant smile at his 3rd birthday party. The commemorative photo with Santa at Christmas. His excitement during the Easter egg hunt. And the last photo, 4-year-old Peter in the arms of her son David and his wife Rachel. After that, the photos mysteriously ceased. Mary's intuition, honed from 35 years as head nurse in a children's ward at the General Hospital, told her something was wrong. The changes over the past 6 months couldn't be mere coincidence. The telephone's ring shattered the morning silence. "Mary?" It was Helen, her best friend from across the street. Her usually cheerful voice was tense. "Helen, what is it? So early in the morning." "Mary, I'm worried about what I saw with David yesterday." Helen's voice trembled. "What do you mean?" "Late last night, I saw David getting out of a black van. Something was off about him. His eyes were vacant, like he was a different person. And..." Mary's hands shook. She felt so unsettled she had to set down her coffee cup. Helen's words suddenly brought all the inexplicable events of the past 6 months rushing back. That Sunday afternoon scene came back as vivid as yesterday. As the setting sun cast long shadows across the yard, the family was enjoying a barbecue. "Grandma, watch me." Peter was riding around the yard on his new birthday bicycle. "Be careful, Peter. Don't fall." While Mary watched anxiously, David gently pushed his son's back, giving her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry so much, Mom. Peter's a big boy now." Rachel's cheerful voice rang out. At the time, Mary hadn't realized that smile was hiding something. The table was laden with Mary's homemade potato salad, Rachel's signature apple pie, David's perfectly grilled steaks, and Peter's favorite chocolate cake. They believed those happy times would last forever. "Delicious. I love Grandma's cooking." Her grandson's innocent smile was still etched in her heart. The peaceful days began to crumble from something seemingly insignificant. Weekend family gatherings suddenly cancelled. Phone calls going unanswered. Then Peter's abrupt withdrawal from preschool. The changes progressed gradually but surely. Rachel's transformation was particularly striking. Her warm smile vanished, replaced by vacant eyes as she spoke. "We've started a new treatment at the New Light Foundation. They have an innovative approach to children's education. There are areas that modern medicine can't understand." Helen's voice continued through the receiver. "Mary, I heard Rachel screaming last night. And that black van has been coming and going frequently. Should we call the police? Mary took a deep breath and steeled herself. Her nurse's intuition was sounding alarm bells. Thank you, Helen. I'm going to David's house now. As she hung up the phone, Mary felt her heart racing. Something was happening to her precious family. And she might be the only one who could stop it. The morning sun was rising over the quiet Scottsdale neighborhood. But no one could have known that this day would dramatically change Mary's life. In the family photos on the wall, 4-year-old Peter showed his innocent smile. She should have noticed the anxiety in those eyes sooner. That regret squeezed Mary's heart. Heavy clouds loomed over Scottsdale's upscale residential area. Mary's car stopped in front of her son's house. The familiar 2-story white house looked different today, somehow. The lawn was overgrown. The rose bushes by the entrance were withering, and the marigold bed that had proudly bloomed just last week was now overrun with weeds. When David and Rachel moved in, Rachel had smiled, saying, "I just love gardening." An eerie silence engulfed Mary as she stepped out of her car. The oak trees between the houses swayed in the cold wind. Usually, the cheerful voices of neighborhood children would fill the air at this hour. But today, time seemed frozen in silence. Mary hesitated as she reached for the doorbell. All the window blinds were drawn. The curtains were tightly closed, as if rejecting any contact with the outside world. David? Rachel? No response to her calls. For the past 2 years, warm moments with her son's family had helped her cope with the grief of losing her husband. Sunday barbecues. Thanksgiving turkey. Christmas gift exchanges. Those memories now felt like distant dreams. Mary pulled out the spare key from her handbag. When her son and daughter-in-law moved in, they'd given it to her, just in case. She never imagined she'd use it like this. Her hand trembled as she inserted the key. The conflict between hesitation to enter and the duty to act wrestled within her. And then the door opened quietly to a dim entrance hall. The air was stagnant. Christmas decorations still hung on the walls. David? Are you here? Peter? Her voice echoed hollowly. The living room was tidy, but something felt unnatural. Photo frames on the table were face down, and there wasn't a single toy in sight. Then, she heard a faint sound from the basement. Mary's heart pounded. Her intuition, refined through 35 years of nursing experience, told her something serious was happening. She descended the stairs one step at a time, carefully avoiding any noise. The basement door was slightly ajar. Soft sobbing leaked through. Peter. When she opened the door, Mary's blood ran cold. In the dim corner of the basement was a small figure chained like a dog. Bruised arms. An emaciated back. Trembling shoulders. Grandma. The tiny voice nearly tore Mary's heart in two. Oh my God, Peter. It's okay, Grandma's here to help you. When she rushed to embrace him, Peter shrank away. No, medicine time, they'll be angry. Just then, the sound of a car engine upstairs. Then doors opening and closing. David and Rachel were home. Mary immediately pulled out her cell phone and dialed 911. But the footsteps coming down the stairs were faster. "Mom! What are you doing?" David's voice was unrecognizably cold. "David, what is all this?" "Rachel, call the police. Mom's condition has worsened." Her son's eyes were like those of a stranger. Behind him, Rachel pulled out her phone, crying as she reported, "My mother-in-law is stalking us. She's mentally unstable." Police sirens approached. Detective Rodriguez and Officer Mitchell arrived first. Before they could assess the situation, Officer Mitchell declared, "Mrs. Anderson, you're under arrest for breaking and entering." Amidst the chaos, Detective Rodriguez's eyes briefly turned to the basement corner. A flicker of doubt crossed his face. It cast a tiny ray of hope in this nightmarish situation. The interrogation room at the Scottsdale police station reflected the cold fluorescent light off its sterile walls. Mary sat in the hard plastic chair, still not fully comprehending why she was there. Across from her sat Detective Rodriguez. "Let's go through this one more time." His voice was calm, but something else lurked in his gaze. "I was worried about my son." Mary began explaining with a trembling voice. Peter's changes. The strange behavior of her son and daughter-in-law. And what she'd witnessed in the basement. "Mrs. Anderson, you worked as head nurse in the pediatric ward at St. Joseph's Hospital for 35 years, correct?" Rodriguez's question seemed to point in a different direction. "Yes, but why? You must have seen many abuse cases." Mary caught her breath. Detective Rodriguez's eyes searched hers for truth. "Yes, of course. We had mandatory reporting requirements. But this is different. This isn't just abuse. It's more organized." Just then, a knock at the interrogation room door. Officer Mitchell poked his head in. "Detective, representatives from the New Light Foundation have arrived." Rodriguez's expression momentarily hardened. "Understood. Mrs. Anderson, please wait here." After they left, silence weighed heavily. The wall clock ticked loudly. Minutes later, voices from the hallway. "This is clearly a misunderstanding. Mrs. Anderson shows signs of schizophrenia. Our facility provides cutting-edge treatment. Her son and daughter-in-law are very concerned." Mary's heart raced. The voices were unnaturally smooth, as if rehearsed. Then her phone vibrated quietly. A message from Helen. "Mary, I have important information. Dr. Carter has agreed to help." Dr. Carter was the pediatric psychiatrist at St. Joseph's. She too had questioned the Foundation's mysterious activities. When Rodriguez returned to the interrogation room, his expression spoke volumes. "Mrs. Anderson, we'll need to detain you temporarily." His voice carried a note of apology. "But Peter, there's insufficient evidence. David and his wife claim they've been troubled by your stalking." As Mary was being transferred to observation, she passed a man in the hallway who appeared to be the Foundation's representative. Immaculate suit. Perfect smile. But his eyes were cold. The night in the holding cell seemed endless. But the situation took a dramatic turn in the morning. "Mrs. Anderson, you have a visitor." It was Dr. Carter, carrying a thick file. "Mary, listen. We've uncovered the Foundation's true nature." Dr. Carter's voice was controlled, but couldn't hide her excitement. "For the past 6 months, my ward has seen mysterious cases. Children from wealthy families. Sudden behavioral changes. All connected to the New Light Foundation." The file contained records of secret deals with pharmaceutical companies. Documentation of unauthorized drug use. And papers showing financial connections to Rachel's family. The Foundation presents itself as a research organization pursuing mental and physical health. But in reality, they're conducting human drug trials. Mary's hands shook. "But why my family? James, your husband's accident might not have been coincidental." Dr. Carter's words made Mary's blood run cold. 2 years ago, James, as a former police officer, was independently investigating the Foundation's activities. And just before the accident, he contacted me. The memory surfaced. The day before the accident, James had seemed worried. "Mary, if anything happens to me." Now she finally understood what those words meant. "We also have evidence," Helen gathered. Dr. Carter pulled out new photographs. Late-night drug administration. Supplies being moved to basements. And evidence of other victims. "Detective Rodriguez has actually been cooperating with us." He was also concerned about the Foundation's influence. Just then, the detention cell door opened. Detective Rodriguez entered with a broad smile. "Mrs. Anderson, you're being released." And he paused before continuing. "Would you help us investigate the New Light Foundation?" The morning sun streamed through the small window of the detention cell. The new day's light seemed like a symbol of hope. The FBI Child Protection Special Investigation Office was buzzing with activity despite the late hour. Mary sat in on the strategy meeting with Detective Rodriguez. Victim photos covered the walls, including those of her son David and grandson Peter. The New Light Foundation has scheduled a large gathering for tomorrow. Special Agent Sarah Jenkins pointed to a building blueprint on the screen. "This is our chance." Dr. Carter spread out medical records, adding, "The drugs they're using clear from the system in 72 hours. David and the others should have been isolated in the facility for 3 days now. This works in our favor." Mary's heart raced. "But Peter." "Don't worry." Helen sat beside her, holding her hand. "My friend has infiltrated as cleaning staff. Peter is being monitored in the second-floor infirmary. We've confirmed signs of abuse. The operation details were finalized. FBI tactical team entering from the front. Local police securing the perimeter. Ambulances standing by. Mrs. Anderson, we have an important role for you." Detective Rodriguez's voice was serious. "Mr. Thompson from the Foundation has requested a meeting with you. He wants to discuss your son and daughter-in-law's treatment." Mary took a deep breath. 35 years as head nurse. How many crises had she weathered? But this time, her own family was at risk. I understand. What do you need me to do? Keep Mr. Thompson occupied in the conference room. Meanwhile, the tactical team will. Suddenly, Helen's phone rang. Emergency. The foundation has moved up the gathering. It starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. The room erupted in chaos. But amid the confusion, Dr. Carter spoke calmly. This might actually be an opportunity. All eyes turned to her. An early morning gathering will have less media attention. N. She pointed to the building layout on the monitor. At 9 a.m., the building has the most blind spots. The plan was quickly revised. 8 a.m., Mary's meeting with Mr. Thompson. 8:30 a.m., tactical team deployment. 9 a.m., simultaneous raid. 6 hours to go. Detective Rodriguez checked his watch. Everyone, rest while you can. But no one moved to rest. At dawn, Mary changed into her familiar nurse's uniform in the police station locker room. The stethoscope around her neck. The pen in her white coat pocket. Everything reminded her of 35 years of professional pride. Are you ready? Sarah Jenkins handed her a small recording device. Everything will be recorded. They arrived at the Foundation headquarters at 7:55 a.m. An elegant building facade. But to Mary now, it looked like a false mask. Mrs. Anderson, we've been expecting you. Mr. Thompson's smile was too perfect. You wanted to discuss your son and his wife. Yes, I have something to discuss. The conference room conversation began. The clock ticked slowly. Thompson continued his explanation. 8:29 a.m. Mary's smartphone displayed the predetermined signal message. I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson. Mary slowly stood up. But that's enough. At that moment, alarms blared throughout the building. In the chaos, Mary ran toward the infirmary. Up the stairs. Around the corridor. N. Peter. Her grandson lay trembling on the infirmary bed. Grandma. A weak voice. But hope had returned to his eyes. Then, a voice from behind. Mom. David stood there. His eyes, beginning to clear from the drug's influence, showed a mix of confusion and understanding. David. I'm so glad to have you back. Mother and son embraced, with Peter joining them. Outside, Foundation executives were being arrested one after another. But that was no longer Mary's concern. Right now, she just wanted to hold her family that had nearly been lost. The morning sun streamed through the infirmary window, announcing the start of a new day. In the pediatric ward of St. Joseph's Hospital, Mary now spent her time in a different role. Watching the Ford drip beside Peter's hospital bed as he slept. Mom, I'll take over. David quietly opened the door. His gentle expression was gradually returning. Thank you. But I'd like to stay a little longer. Mary smiled at her son while holding her grandson's small hand. A month had passed. The collapse of the New Light Foundation had sent shockwaves through Scottsdale. Over 20 families had been victimized, and illegal dealings with pharmaceutical companies continued to come to light. Grandma. Peter opened his eyes. The frightened look was gone now. Good morning, brave boy. Mary gently stroked her grandson's hair. His arm with the 4 still showed bruises, but the wounds were definitely healing. Dr. Carter's treatment plan proceeded carefully. Detoxification, psychological care, and most importantly, rebuilding family bonds. David, shall we go to the park today? But Mom. It's okay. Peter, would you like to go? Her grandson's eyes lit up. Yes. I want to swing. These simple conversations were so precious. Mary felt her heart warming. The park was bathed in spring sunshine. David gently pushed Peter on the swing from behind. The scene looked just like before the nightmare. But everything was different. Everything had changed. Rachel was arrested with her father, awaiting trial. David started research at a new pharmaceutical company. And most importantly, their family bonds had grown stronger and deeper. Mary. Helen approached, waving her hand. The new support group is ready. After the incident, Mary had begun helping other victim families. She put her 35 years of nursing experience and personal ordeal to good use. The weekly gatherings in the church meeting room had become a place of healing. Thank you, Helen. I couldn't have made it this far without you. The 2 women watched Peter playing on the swing. Her former best friend had become more like a fellow warrior. James would be proud of you. Mary nodded quietly at Helen's words. Her husband's death hadn't been an accident. Now that the truth was known, the case would be reinvestigated. But there was no rush for that now. What mattered most was the family before her, regaining their smiles. Grandma, watch me. Peter jumped off the swing and ran over energetically. In her embracing arms, she felt her grandson's small heart beating. The weight of this life. The preciousness of this moment. Well, let's have lunch. We're having a picnic today. Mary's basket contained nostalgic homemade potato salad, David's favorite sandwiches, and chocolate cookies that brought out Peter's smile. Lunch for the 3 of them under the dappled sunlight. Casual conversation. Soft laughter. Mary felt anew that this was true happiness. She remembered Detective Rodriguez's words as she left the police station. Mrs. Anderson, you saved many families. But that wasn't quite right. Mary was the one who had been saved. In the sunlight, a breeze of the new season was blowing.